Hello, Olo again, nuggets of wisdom. Just want to drop some gems for you today. My topic today is point of view versus perspective. Let's talk about it. Welcome back. Why please like, share, hit the notification bell for new content. Please, likes are free. The more you like the video, the more we can share. Please drop me a comment. Just drop me a comment to see you're listening, what jumped out for you, what I can improve. I'm open for something that can help the whole collective. So let's talk about it. You see, this topic is not one of those popular topics at all. It's not one of those topics that is more juicy or it's more fun. It's not something that piques your interest. It's not something we're just yakking away. It's something that I want to look at. You see, something that has intrigued me a lot is how as human beings come to their viewpoint. What makes them tick? What is the root cause analysis for how they act? And that's the problem. I mean, today, over 50% divorces, relationships going wild with the children, a whole lot of things that's come through. So I always say to people that two things can be true at the same time. You can have a good point of view, and you can also have a good perspective. And you can have a bad point of view and also a bad perspective. But most point of view may be good, depends on how that person goes out. But most point of view are based on people's biases, are based on what they believe to be true. And sometimes that may be where they came from, what they understand, and how they move. But I want us to give us a clinical understanding what perspective is. Perspective helps us to understand situations from the other positions, to consider other beliefs, experiences, and viewpoints. Point of view can be done by a protagonist, somebody who's going to just relate a story as being delivered to them. What do I mean by that? So a point of view is something like, I'm going to relate a story. The story says George Floyd was killed in Minneapolis, and I'm writing the story, and this is my point of view. He died from a racist cop. That's the point of view, even if it's obvious to the whole world. Perspective might say, oh, it was a mistake. Either way, none of those things shake out. But what am I trying to say here? What scares me the most, and this is where I'm going with this, is very simple. A lot of us are held by a point of view that is no longer serving us. If everybody had a perspective, look at what the perspective says. It said, help to understand situations from other positions, to consider other beliefs. I don't mean just some wayward belief. It might be belief, something that is good. Experience and viewpoint. If you look at our country today, we really don't have perspective. What we have, that we have two extremes, that we have a viewpoint. And those viewpoints are not negative. Some of these are too extreme, and there's no middle ground. So, although how does that translate to me? If we're going to live harmoniously in the area of relationships, what's going to actually happen is that we have to have perspective. It can't be my way or the highway all the time. It can't be my point of view because my mother has been doing this for the last 20 years or 30 years. This is how it's going to roll. And this is the problem we have. Oh, it might be just even a belief system, a Christian belief system. It might be an understanding. But your point of view may fit your family, no longer works here anymore. So what we need to do, we need to have a perspective. This is what I'm going. So you may say this is not a topic, a public topic, but this is the reason why families are falling apart. They have a point of view of secrecy. They have a point of view that they sweep everything under the carpet. So nobody says anything wrong to the next person. Nobody actually brings it out on the table. They sit down there and have a point of view. So how many times have you have a point of view that's actually destroying you? And it has not served you well so far. So how long are we going to keep on doing this? I know families 20, 30 years talking about the same argument they had in 1970 something and how they held that point of view. And they held that point of view 30, 40 years later. With the perspective we could have said, parents will say to you, is this still serving us? These arguments here and there, is it serving us? Or you're hanging on to your point of view. You hear people say, like, you see what you get. I am what I am, and I'm not going to change who I am. It's a point of view. It's no perspective. That's why we're going down the way we're going, because nobody wants to listen to a perspective. It's my point of view. That's why I want to address this. This may not be the most juiciest topic that all I've said before, but it's actually needed. It's needed that we have perspective about where we're going. Sorry about that. It's easy for us to say we not have perspective for where we're going. This is crazy. Because point of view can be a good point of view. That's why I said in the beginning, two things can be right at the same time. If your point of view is to grow a family, if your point of view is to go through stuff, if your point of view is to grow your family, if your point of view to understand things you're doing, if your point of view is to make sure that everything is in the up and up, then that's a great point of view. But if your point of view is negative, it's no longer serving anybody. And what do I mean by negative? Point of view that everybody in your family, if you're a man, maybe you come from an abusive relationship with your father. Your father probably was an abusive man. Now you carry that same point of view, or women don't talk, women don't do this. There's a point of view that you're carrying over that makes absolutely no sense anymore. In this case, you need a perspective. Sir, it's no longer serving you. You can't beat that woman. You can't keep on disrespecting her and say, that's what my father did. And my father did this, my father did that. On the woman's side, your mouth can't be so sharp. You have a lot to say because that's all you do. You see your mother speak down to everybody and you're following the same footsteps because that's your point of view. It's time to grow a perspective. It's time to have something that is different from where you're coming from. If your point of view is harmonious, God bless you. But if it's not, get a perspective. And that's what I want to tell you today. Enough is enough. The point of view that is no longer serving us will not work. I can tell you, I can sit down here and tell you stories after stories. And since I was a kid, and to this moment, if I'm 54, there are problems that have been going that have been following point of view for the last 40 years, and they think it's good. And when anybody gives them a perspective, no, this is how we used to do it. Sir, ma'am, it's not working. When is this going to stop? Let me read this one more time. Perspective helps us to understand situations from other positions, to consider other beliefs, experiences, and viewpoints. Maybe my belief is harmonious. Your belief is chaotic. Which one do you want to listen to? Which one are we going to keep on doing? This is no longer happening to us. It's tearing our family apart. It's making the kids upset. Your point of view is crazy. It's not working anymore. It's time to get a perspective. This is what I say all the time. Point of view versus perspective. If your point of view for your family is crazy, it's time to pack it in. It's time to have a perspective. Consider other beliefs. Consider other experiences. Consider other viewpoints. I guess you get my drift. But I'm just here to let you know it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter how much money you have, what your education is. If your point of view is toxic, if your point of view is negative, forget it. You're never going to have the total peace that you need, either man or woman. It's always a game. Nuggets of wisdom. I'm out.